Hey, what's up there, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer 55551, and I am back with a My 2 Cent video for this week, for the week of January 29th to February 4th, though. And we're going to be taking a look at 4 stories that's popped up on this week, including bad news for those who are Apex Legends fans, though. It looks like Halo could be seeing some shakeup at 343 Industry if this report from Bloomberg and Jason Schreier turns out to be true, though. There are reports coming out that Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft may not show up at E3 2023 this year, though, and it kind of throws into question again of E3's future and all. And of course, reports about the possibility that we might see a Nintendo Direct this month. Possibly next week, but we'll have to wait and see on that one, though. If you're interested in where I got the source of these informations, though, links will be in the description of this video, assuming you're watching this on YouTube. But before we get started, I like to do what I like to call the quick My 2 Cents, stories that kind of caught my attention, but I'm not going to go into a huge amount of details, though. The first one has to do with an gameplay overview trailer for the upcoming game Atomic Heart, though. Now, this was shown during Microsoft and Bethesda's presentation back in E3 2021, though, and from what they showed back then, looked really impressive. You definitely were getting a little bit of a BioShock vibe from it, though, which certainly is not a bad thing. I definitely enjoy the BioShock series, to be exact, though. One thing I'm a little bit concerned about is, based on what they showed so far, I'm kind of curious, is this running on, the PC? And if so, how powerful a PC do we need? Is this running on the PS5? Is this running on the Xbox Series X and S, especially for those who own an Xbox Series S like I do, though? So there is some concerns about this turning into kind of a Cyberpunk 2077 type of a situation. But at the very least, we know the game is coming to Game Pass at day 1, so at least that gives me a chance to try the game out to see if it clicks with me or not. We also learned that a WWE female wrestler by the name of Zelina Vega, if I'm saying her name correctly, dressed up as Juro, J-U-R-O, character that was first introduced in Street Fighter 4, though, basically during the 2023 WWE Royal Rumble, though. I'm not really a big wrestling fan or anything like that, but it is kind of interesting to see her kind of dress up as a video game character. That's sort of interesting, though. And it's also been reported that she will probably be doing basically commentary for the Capcom's upcoming Street Fighter 6. Whether you think that's good or bad, that's going to be your call at the end of the day. Some folks might be okay with it, some might not, so it just really depends on your preference and view on that, though. We also learned that Capcom is expected to sell a record 40 million game units by the end of the fiscal year, though. It's going to be very interesting to see if they can pull that off or not. But I will say Capcom has been on the roll lately with some of their games, though, from the remakes of the Resident Evil 2 and 3 to, Resident Evil Village, Resident Evil 8 to, Monster Hunter Rise, which first made its way onto the Switch, then onto PC, and we also know it's coming to other platforms, Xbox and basically the PlayStation, particularly for Game Pass and all. So we'll see how this all plays out, though, especially with the upcoming release of the Resident Evil 4 remake, though. I do think Capcom has a very good chance of hitting these numbers, though compared to where they were years ago, where they were not exactly in the financially in the best of positions, to be exact, though. We also learned that the developers of Ender Lilies have announced Redemption Reaper, basically a new dark fantasy tactical RPG, though, and it's reported it will be coming out on February 22nd. We also know that it will be coming to the Nintendo Switch. No word about, I haven't heard anything about any other platforms, but I assume it will be available on other platforms as well. From what I understand, some of the folks who worked on Kingdom Hearts 3 to basically the Fire Emblem series are also involved in this, so I am kind of curious to see how this game plays out and all, though. I mean, I don't have a problem with having more RPGs on the Nintendo Switch or anything like that, so I'm definitely down with that. Down with this one, though. Although I do wonder if releasing it especially after Fire Emblem Engage come out, is a good thing or not, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. We also we also learned the studio behind Kingdom of Amalur Remaster, or Re-Reckoning to be exact, could be working on a new sequel, which wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing. I did enjoy the first one though. I especially enjoyed it when they ported it over to the Nintendo Switch. Yes, the one big downside I would say is the frame rate does unfortunately drop to around 30 frames per second compared to the remaster that was on, the PS4 and the Xbox though, which runs at 60 frames per second. But in either case, it is a good game, especially for those who are into, Skyrim and everything like that though. And I would definitely be down for a sequel if it does happen. And I hope that they also bring it over to the Nintendo Switch if a sequel does happen though. It's a little unfortunate how this game got caught up in the controversy with 3H Studios, big games, former baseball player Kurt Skilling and Rhode Island, and a whole controversy that emerged from that though. So it is a little bit unfortunate though, but it's nice to see the series got another shot, and it's nice to see here that we're going to be seeing a possibility of a sequel though. We also learned that The Witcher will also have spin-off games will basically set to have co-op and PvE. And also, this strictly would be interesting to see what a co-op Witcher game would be like, though. As long as this doesn't interfere for those who enjoy the single-player experience, like say, like it is in Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. I'm definitely not have anything apparently wrong with that, though. We also learned that the Xbox exclusive Starfield is apparently playable in full form from start to finish, at least according to what this report is, which is kind of interesting because there were other reports coming out that supposedly Starfield and Redfall were not in great states or anything like that, although any information like that should be taken with a grain of salt though. I am curious to see what Starfield looks like now compared to what they showed last year, and it's unclear whether or not Starfield will hit its first half of 2023 though. Many are speculating it could go sometime later in 2023 though, to be exact though, and there have been reports that Starfield would be out after, how Redfall will come out, which is aiming for a May 2nd launch date. So we'll have to wait and see whether this report is true or not. I'm hoping Starfield gets off to the best of starts though, but again, like I said, what happened with Cyberpunk 2077 and Fallout 76 though, I do have some concerns here and there, but like I said, it's coming to Game Pass, so that shouldn't be a bad thing or anything like that. We also learned that there will be a waistline limit for those who go to the Mario Kart ride in the Super Nintendo world that will be part of Universal Studios. Though to be exact, though, honestly, I'm not hugely surprised by this in any way. I know some folks may not like this and all, but some of it is also for the safety reasons, to be exact though. So I'm not entirely surprised by this report though. So we'll see what the waistline is going to be though. I think the article will explain it, to be exact. We also learned that supposedly the upcoming Redfall will require a online connection even for single player games though. I'm very mixed on this for some degree though. On one hand, I'm not a big fan of the idea of putting always online connections even for single player games, to be exact though. But on the other hand, since this game can also be played co-op and everything like that, I can kind of understand to a certain degree, almost kind of similar to what we saw with Destiny and all. But yeah, I can see why not everyone is basically happy about this, to be exact. And on the movie and TV side of the My Two Cent though, the Illumination has released a small teaser trailer for the Super Mario Brothers movie. This one is a little bit of an extension into for those who saw the second trailer, a scene where Mario is taking on Donkey Kong. The scene shows where basically Mario hits the question blocks and gets the Cat Mario suit that was from Super Mario 3D World, and we get to hear Seth Rogen's first time voicing Donkey Kong. And honestly, it's like, yeah, this isn't bad or anything like that, though, to be exact. Though I thought, yeah, it's fine. It's nothing special or anything like that, though. either way, I'm still looking forward to the movie though when it comes out in April, and I'm willing to see how this one plays out though. My hope is that it's as good as at least the Sonic the Hedgehog movie has been, both the first one and the second one though. We also learned that basically Netflix is preparing to reveal the rules for password sharing going forward. Some of it will include checking in 31 days though. I know some people don't like this, to be exact though, and I can understand that. Plus, Netflix is, infamous password famous sharing is caring tweet, which obviously that didn't age well. But at the same time, considering the fact that we now have stuff like Disney Plus, Paramount Plus, Hulu Plus, and HBO Max, and so forth, there's more competition now than there was when Netflix just got started and everything like that. So I'm still mixed on this. I can understand Netflix's perspective on this, but excuse me, I also understand why consumers may not all be 100% happy about this. And last but not least, and unfortunately, the sad news today is actress Anna Weston, if I'm saying her name correctly, unfortunately passed away though. She was basically passed away at the age of 45 though. She has starred in several appearances, including Star Trek Enterprise. She's also starred in shows like CSI, Criminal Scene Investigation, Bird of Prey, Frasier, Killer Instinct, Boston League, Castle, Runaway, and Supernatural though. She also was in shows like 24, Bosch though. She also played the Board Queen in the second season of Picard though. She also voiced did vocal and motion capture performance as Tess for the first for The Last of Us Part 1 though. I will say she definitely has a very interesting career though. I will say my heart goes out to her friends and family for unfortunately her passing though, and sadly, like I said, she passed away at the age of 45 though. Okay, with the Quick My True Cent part now done, we'll get started with our first story, and this one has to do with Nintendo Direct and supposedly with a Direct Renew rumor. Now, mostly around the time, every time there's a new year or anything like that, many people kind of speculate when Nintendo will be doing a Direct, at least show off what we might see in the maybe the first half before, E3 comes around or anything like that though. Majority of the time it usually pops up like around February and all, but as always, but again, you never really know. Nintendo tends to go by their own rules and everything like that, so I mean, it's possible they could break them all and not have one in February, to be exact. However, several reports seem to indicate that there is a very good chance we might get a Nintendo Direct possibly next week, but again, nothing has been confirmed. Although one report from iNintendo seems to indicate that might be true to a certain extent. Well, it's several articles that have pointed this out though. The first one is from Go Nintendo, and it seems to report that said this, quote, "The Nintendo fans, diehards over at Fama Boards have been keeping an eye on Nintendo's website, and they noticed that the metadata for selected Switch games have been updated. In particular, both The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom and Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp have received NSUIDs. A game usually get an NSUID when pre-orders are about to go live." Quick side note about Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp though. The game was originally supposed to come out last year, but Nintendo put a delay on it and put the game on hold to be shipped out due to Russia's invasion of Ukraine and all. Anyway, continuing on. With this being the case, fans are thinking Nintendo is gearing up for a Nintendo Direct that will share details on these games, and then pre-orders will go live. We already know when Tears of the Kingdom is coming out, but seeing potential rumbling about Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp could mean that this title's long delay might be ending soon. Along with that, Amazon Mexico has just added Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp back to their website. The game was up for pre-orders once again, although there's no release date shown. It's important to note that Amazon Mexico removed Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp from their listing back in March of 2022. Again, Russia's invasion of Ukraine and all. So it's returning now would certainly seem to indicate something is up. Over on My Nintendo, several stories that seem to pop up was that supposedly one leaker, supposedly on Reddit, basically is saying that the presentation would happen on Tuesday, February 7th. Although it's worth pointing out, they updated that story and has pointed out that that Reddit mod has now removed the initial mod approved post saying user contacted with valid proof of contact with employee from a company working closely with Nintendo. The employees was asked if there was a direct on the 7th of February and reply confirmed. That's it. It's possible this information could be false though, or at the same time, it could have been true, but the employee may have gotten into a bit of trouble if they kind of, leaked something that they should not leak though. And last but not least though, Jeff Grubb, who is a hit and miss at times, because sometimes can be on the mark, but sometimes not. We saw what happened with the Legend of Zelda, rumors about Wind Waker HD coming to the Switch and Twilight Princess coming to the Switch, that kind of stuff. Anyway, moving on. Again, apologize about the noise out there. Some folks are working, doing lawn work and all. But anyway, moving on. Venture Beat Jeff Grubb has said that has also heard that Nintendo is planning a Nintendo Direct presentation for the week of February 6th, February 2023. The news follows the Nintendo Direct Reddit post, which was initially verified by moderators, but eventually taken down due to a lack of hard evidence. Excuse me. The post claimed that a Nintendo Direct presentation is planned for Tuesday, February 7th. Nintendo leaker Nate Drake has also responded saying that he has heard a Nintendo Direct will be broadcasting soon. Nintendo has not confirmed a Nintendo Direct presentation for this month. However, if they do, they will let you know. Do I think that there is a possibility Nintendo could be preparing a Nintendo Direct for this month, though? I wouldn't completely rule out that possibility or anything like that, to be exact, though. Still, Nintendo has been known to go at their own beat, to be exact. So, yeah, it's possible we could have a Direct next week. It could be a week after, or it may not happen in February at all. So, we'll just have to wait and see until there is an official confirmation to know for certain, though. As for Advance War Reboot Camp 1 and 2, to be exact, though, this game was put in a very awkward and unfortunate situation. As I mentioned before, originally the game was supposed to come out last year around this time though, but was put on hold or got delayed though due to Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and Nintendo did not think that releasing a game at this time, considering Russia's illegal invasion of Ukraine, would be an appropriate time to release a game where an invading force is against like a small nation and everything like that. So at the time that game was put on hold, there was no word of when the game will come out and all like that. I think that if a Nintendo Direct is going to happen, I think this would be a time would also have an official release date for Advance Wars Reboot Camp 1 and 2. I understand the reason for why Nintendo delayed it though, but I just don't know how long can you delay this game, to be exact though. We don't know how long Russia is going to continue with their illegal military campaign against Ukraine, though. And just to say we don't want to release it because of what's going on in the world, I just wonder how long can you do that? How long can you wait for that long, to be exact, though? So it's just, I do think this would be a good time if they're going to do Direct to announce an official launch date for Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp. So we'll have to wait and see. So overall, I would say it's not out of the realm of the possibility we could get a Nintendo Direct this month, though. Whether that happens or not remains to be seen, and whether it happens this week or next week, though, again, that remains to be seen. As for Advance Wars 1-2 Reboot Camp, I would say, yes, I understand Nintendo's reason for delaying it last year, but I think at this point, I just don't know how long they can continue not releasing a title that supposedly has been finished already, though. Okay, I'm going to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll get to part two. And this one has to do with a report coming out that basically Microsoft, Sony, and even Nintendo may not be at E3 this year. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part two of my 2 cent video for this week. And for this one, we're going to be taking a look at rumors that seem to be popping out that E3 2023 may be being a little bit of trouble though. Now, E3 has sort of been in a awkward position for a while though. Originally, back during like the early 2000s and back in like the 90s, it was like this big event where, we heard about the latest, the video games and everything like that, especially like any big releases that would be announced to presentations and so forth. It was like, for a lot of us, it was like our Christmas, or me being Jewish though, Hanukkah to be exact. But over the years, we have seen E3 we've seen some changes though, ranging from companies not doing, huge presentations and all, to having their own situation, like, their own, events and all, like Nintendo does with their Nintendo Directs, to be exact though. And there has always been questions about whether or not is E3 still like relevant or not though. And of course, obviously, when COVID hit back in 2020, this kind of really had some impact and everything like that though, especially last year when they decided not to hold E3. Excuse me. But we also learned that the folks who, by the name, I think Repop, if I'm saying the name correctly, folks who have handled PAX and other events, though, decided that they announced that they would be taking over for E3, given their history with other events and so forth, though. The idea would be that basically there would be one part would be for just, game journalists and, companies and all, while another part of it for other days will be for consumers to take a look and try out some of the games and all that stuff. So the idea kind of sounded really neat in terms of this new approach for E3 and all. Well, this week, though, rumors or reports have been coming out. It seemed to indicate that, that Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo may not be at E3 this year, though. Some of these articles have come from both Video Game Chronicles and IGN, though. For Video Game Chronicles, though, they're claiming that according to source with knowledge, according to some of their sources, though, they point out about Nintendo's event, saying that with knowledge of Nintendo's plan, the company has decided to skip E3 2023, the event's first physical show in 4 years, because it feels like it has fewer major releases than usually ready to show, which would justify significant event space though. Nintendo has traditionally been one of E3's biggest supporter and was presented on the show floor at last physical event in 2019 when PlayStation and Xbox were not. Sony Interactive's absence this year is less surprising since it skips the last E3 show in 2019 entirely and announced it wasn't planning to attend the 2020 event either before it was canceled due to the pandemic, COVID-19 and all. Meanwhile, Microsoft will have some form of presentation in Los Angeles this year with an already announced summer showcase, though. This was announced along with, Starfield getting its own presentation and all. However, according to IGN, the Xbox firm will not have a show floor present at the Los Angeles Convention Center itself. VGC's own sources claim to discussions were ongoing with Microsoft, however, and that it could yet have a business and media presentation similar to last year's Gamescom, if not a traditional booth. Microsoft traditionally holds its E3 events away from the LA Convention Center, and in 2019 it didn't have a booth there either. It said opting for the neighborhood Microsoft Theater. So unlike Sony and Nintendo, there should be plenty of Xbox news around the event. Microsoft's plans are understood to be complicated by the backdrop of recent significant job costs across the company, in addition to cuts to its marketing budget, which would traditionally cover shows like E3, though. Losing all three platform holders would represent a blow to the revamp E3, but sources suggest there should still be significant presence from major game companies at the event, though. In a statement and especially an update from basically Repop following this report from Video Game Chronicles and from IGN. Oh, not that. Okay, never mind. Sorry, that's my phone and all. Anyway, according to the statement, it reads that, quote, E3 is such a significant event for the gaming industry, and being entrusted with an important cultural touchstone is not a responsibility Repop takes lightly. Since Repop took on the contract to run E3 6 months ago, we worked digitally with ESA members based on their feedback to create a new type of E3 that supports their goals and needs. This process has taken time due to a tremendous amount of stakeholders offering inputs, though we appreciate that we could have been more transparent to questions for which we were still finalizing the answers. Excuse me. We continue to work tirelessly to create a show that brings together the global gaming market. We believe we've created a new format for the event that serves the needs for both the industry and its fans, and are committed to building and growing in the coming years. As we spent much of 2022 refining how E3 2023 will take shape, reflecting on the feedback we solicited, we did not send a single contract to an exhibitor until the start of this month. We have received tremendous amount of interest and verbal commitments from many of our biggest companies in the industry, and when we are ready to announce the exhibits, we are confident it will be a lineup that will make the trip to Los Angeles well worth it for the industry and consumers alike, though. Now, assuming this information is correct, though, and it's worth pointing out, we have not heard from Nintendo or Sony or Microsoft, to be exact, though. Yeah, that is somewhat of a blow, considering the big three are not going to be there and anything like that, though. I mean, could Repop pull it off, though? Could they manage to pull off a E3 without Sony, Microsoft, or Nintendo being there? I mean, it's possible. Other events have happened before, like Comic-Con and others, where none of the big players are there and they manage to pull it off. So it's not out of the realm of possibility, though. But it does throw into questions about E3's future going forward, though. But we'll have to wait and see how things all play out, though. I mean, a lot can happen between now and when June comes along, when E3 kicks into high gear and all. As for Nintendo, not really. As for the report about Nintendo, though, that would be kind of interesting to see if that doesn't happen, though. While it's certainly not out of the realm of possibility that Nintendo may not have any heavy hitters after Tears of the Kingdom, though, I'm not going to completely rule out the possibility that there may be more games or maybe some heavy hitters that we just don't know about, though. I mean, yes, this report could be true, and maybe they're just gearing up for the possibility that we might see a successor for the Switch or anything like that. But at the same time, it is worth pointing out that Nintendo does have a history of keeping a lot of things to their chest. So while it is possible they may not have any heavy hitters for the rest of 2023, that's a possibility. There may be stuff that we did not know about that might surprise us, though. I mean, look at the Xbox Developers Direct that happened last week. No one expected Hi-Fi Rush. I mean, that was a shadow drop, and that became a success, to be exact, though. So for all we know, Nintendo might have something up the sleeve that we just don't know about. But again, like I said, excuse me, a lot could happen between now and when June comes into play, though. So overall, I wouldn't rule out the possibility that all three could be skipping E3 2023, though, but we'll have to wait until we hear official confirmation. I mean, is it possible Repop can pull this off without the big three? Like I said, I think it's a possibility. And while it is possible Nintendo may not have any heavy hitters for the rest of 2023, I mean, I won't rule out the possibility that there may be some stuff that that they might have some actual heavy hitters. Like I said, they have a history of keeping things to their chest, though. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 3, and this one has to do with 343 Industries and the possibility of shakeup of how they're going to handle Halo going forward, though. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 3 of my 2 cent video, and for this one, we're going to be taking a look at basically 343 Industries and supposedly Halo's future. Now, 343 Industries' reputation in regards of Halo has not exactly has received the best of response. So there have been many criticisms of how 343 Industries has handled the Halo franchise, from games like Halo 5, which didn't exactly sit very well with everyone, to the Master Chief Collection, which was launched in a very bad state, although now eventually fixed though, to Halo Infinite, which, while it did get some praises, though, the game also got some heavily criticism for how they have handled in terms of the roadmap, to Forge and everything like that. So 343 Industry has often been heavily criticized of how they have handled the Halo franchise, though. And we've learned about how Microsoft had several layoffs, including several folks at 343 Industries, though. Well, now a new report from Bloomberg, courtesy of Jason Schreier, who has a pretty good history with his reporting and everything like that, seems to indicate, though, that basically Halo could be switching to a new engine, though, from the original split to the original in-house engine to possibly Unreal, to the Unreal Engine, to even different in terms of how things are going to be handled there. The Bloomberg article, however, sadly is through a paywall if you're lucky to get a chance to read it and everything like that. But several articles, this one from Game Informer, kind of breaks it down a little bit, though. According to what Game Informer is saying, let me just get this right here. All right. They're saying, quote, Halo Infinite's developer 343 Industries reportedly switching from its own internal slip space engine to Unreal Engine for some games in the future. Excuse me. This news comes from a Bloomberg report stating that the switch from slip screen to Unreal will begin with a new game under the codename Tonka, according to the publication source who are familiar with 343's plans. According to Bloomberg, 343 is developing Tonka, with Certain Affair, who have helped develop various Halo games for more than 15 years. The project reportedly started off as a battle royale, but has potentially evolved in a different direction. Bloomberg reported that future Halo games will also explore using the Unreal Engine, but that some within the studios are skeptical of dropping the Slipspace engine in favor of Epic Games' Unreal, which worries a switch in Code's engine will negatively impact the way it feels to play a Halo game. Sources familiar with 343 and its use of the Slipspace engine told Bloomberg that the engine, which apparently built on decade-old code, is difficult to use and buggy, and sometimes a pain, pointing to developers working on Halo games. Apparently, in multiple instances throughout 343's history, studio management has mulled over switching to Unreal, but that it didn't actually happen until Pierre Heinzer, if I'm saying the name correctly, though, took over the studio late last year following the departure of 343 head Bonnie Ross and engine lead David Berger. Elsewhere in the report, the publisher claimed that 343 isn't working on new story content for Halo Infinite, despite many fans believing said story content was coming in the game's future. For the record, though they may have claimed that there was never anything official by either 343 or Microsoft, though. In fact, Bloomberg reports that some developers were making prototypes in the Unreal Engine and pitched an idea for a new Halo game. However, many of those developers were reportedly laid off earlier this month, so it's unclear if these prototypes are still being developed, though. So apparently, so it's possible if this report is true. Again, it's from Jason Schreier, so I would say he has a pretty good track record to be exact. Though it would be really interesting to see them move away from the split space to basically on the Unreal Engine, though, particularly either whether it's 4 or most likely Unreal Engine 5. Regardless, though, I really think that over at 343 Industries, there needs to be some sort of overhaul in terms of how they are, making the Halo games or anything like that. Because, like I said before, 343 has had a hard time when it comes to shipping out Halo games, to be exact. Again, Halo Master Chief Collection, when that originally started, and Halo Infinite, to be exact. Particularly more on the multiplayer side of things. So, the story campaign, however, I enjoyed the Halo Infinite story campaign. It felt like a take on, the Halo's take on Breath of the Wild, and I would definitely be open to them expanding upon that approach of what they did with Halo Infinite and all. But I mean, I do hope that they're able to get the franchise under control, though. I mean, a lot of fans are not happy with how 343 has handled Halo, though, and I do hope, if this report is true, and I believe most likely it is, I do hope this is able to earn back trust for those who felt disappointed with the way 343 is handling the situation, though. I know there were rumors about 343 being taken off it, but Microsoft has come out and said that that's not the case, though. But we'll see what this means going forward, though. I do hope that this also means that we'll see more Halo stories or anything like that, because I do enjoy the single player, and I would love for them to continue doing more of the single player Halo games and all. I mean, we don't know what the future of Halo is for 343 Industries, but I do hope that there's more single player content, though, similar to what we saw with Halo Infinite, though, and hopefully they can find a way to get their multiplayer more under control and actually deliver a really good, with content and everything like that, because the way they handled Halo Infinite in terms of the multiplayer was not great, and there seriously needs to be a change of how they handle Halo going forward, to be exact, though, because they cannot continue with the way things have been going for Halo after how Master Chief Collection was handled at the beginning and how Halo Infinite has been going forward. There needs to be a change. It might be to change the staff, it may have to be a change in the leadership, but in either case, something has to change, though. So overall, though, being this is from Jason Schreier, though, I would say I'm more into believing this story is most likely is true. Again, we'll have to hear official confirmation from Microsoft, though. But either way, regardless of whether the story is true or not, something needs to change at 343 Industry, though. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 4, and this one has to do with Apex Legends, and unfortunately there is some bad news for those who are looking forward to certain things for the future of Apex Legends and all. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with our fourth and final part of our My Two Cent video for this week. And for this one, we're going to be talking about Respawn Entertainment, particularly Apex Legends, and some bad news for any Apex Legends fans who may have been looking forward for certain things, this and that. Now, Respawn Entertainment is kind of an interesting studio, though. When Respawn was purchased by EA, many kind of dreaded, considering EA's history of known for buying studios and shutting down studios, to be exact, though. And they have a laundry list of a lot of studios, though. One of the most biggest one is Vertical. Was the original developers of Dead Space and all, and how things didn't go too well when they tried to do with Dead Space 3. This also led to the situation with, I think, with one of the Battlefield games and all that, so that eventually EA shut that studio down. The creators of SimCity is a good example, considering EA's push for an always online and no offline mode and all. So yeah, a lot of people were kind of iffy about the idea of of EA purchasing Respawn Entertainment. But we have seen Respawn has put out some quality titles, though, that has seemed to have sit very well with fans despite, EA's logo on it. The Titanfall series, particularly Titanfall 2, basically was it, though. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order has also been a big heavy hitter, and kind of shows that yes, you could not only do a good Star Wars game, but you can also do a good single player game. A comment that one of the former heads of EA has decided to downplay and everything like that, thinking people don't play single player games. Well, when you see games like that along with God of War, particularly God of War Ragnarok, Mario Odyssey, and Breath of the Wild, that kind of flies into the face of that kind of statement. To be exact, though, to Apex Legends, a battle royale game from Respawn EA set in the Titanfall universe, though, that apparently has also done very well, so much, though, that Panic Button would handle the Switch port and everything like that. Well, recently, some reports have started to come out for some folks out there, and it depends on your view on Apex Legends, though. One has to do with the mobile, and one has to do with the possibility that it doesn't sound like we're going to get a single-player Apex Legend mode. The first one from GamerRant basically points out basically in regards of Apex Legends, though. According to parts of the article, it basically reads, quote, excuse me, Respawn Entertainment has confirmed that Apex Legends Mobile will be shutting down on May 1st, 2023, which leaves fans of the mobile version of Apex Legends only 90 days to get their final drop in. Apex Legends Mobile will go offline at 1 p.m. Pacific time, but all in-app purchases have been disabled as of today in preparation for the conclusion. According to Respawn, development on Apex Legends has been halted because the content pipeline for the mobile battle royale no longer fits their quality, quantity, and candidacy standards, though. The article also kind of reports that the game has not really been able to get the traction that EA and Respawn has expected, though. Meanwhile, over at GameSpot, it's reported that apparently they may have canceled a single-player game set in the Titanfall and Apex Legends universe, and they're saying that this all has to do with basically EA's disappointing financial outlook for the current quarter. Here's what they had to say. According to Bloomberg, the unnamed and unannounced game was codenamed Titanfall Legends. It was poorly directed by designer Mohammed Alavi until he left EA in early 2022. The game's development team reportedly consisted of 50 people, and EA is helping to find them other roles within the company. However, those who aren't given other roles will reportedly be laid off and given severance package, though. EA has notably announced recently, such as delaying Star Wars Jedi Survivor to April 28th, as well as shutting down, Apex Legends Mobile and Battlefield Mobile. With Apex Legends is much more popular than Titanfall, Respawn Entertainment wanted fans to know that Titanfall was still part of the developer's identity, possibly hitting at some future announcement. Unfortunately, it now seems that seems like it will be a while until any sort of potential Titanfall game ever released, though. It is a little bit unfortunate, though, especially for those who may be on the mobile side. But for me, as someone who enjoys single-player games, though, this is very disappointing if this report is necessarily true, though. I remember playing the single-player mode in Titanfall 2, though, and it was actually quite fun, to be exact, though. Excuse me, though. I mean, the game definitely had a potential if they were able to do a single-player mode correctly, like a story mode or something like that, particularly with ranging from like the wall jumping parts or anything like that, though. It showed that there was definitely potential there, especially in Titanfall 2, though. Sadly, it doesn't sound like that we'll never get that potential, and that is basically very unfortunate, though. And again, this is EA, and EA unfortunately has a history of, well, let's just say, shooting themselves in the foot many times, to be exact, though. So it is a little bit unfortunate, though, and the fact that you hear this kind of game canceled, though, it does throw into question Titanfall's future, despite Respawn Entertainment saying otherwise, though. I mean, again, this is EA, though. So, excuse me, I'm coughing now. Anyway, overall, though, I would say, assuming this report is true, this is probably disappointing news for those who are Apex Legends or, Battlefield fans, though, to be exact, though. Hearing the mobile version shut down, it's probably going to be disappointing for some, especially for those who play on, like their iPhone or Android, though. But to hear the possibility of a single player game set in the Apex and Titanfall Legend canceled, though, as a fan of single-player games, I have to admit that is extremely disappointed, though, because based on what I saw in terms of the single-player mode in Titanfall 2, I feel as though there is potential. It's definitely there and right for a good single-player experience set in the Apex Legend and Titanfall universe, though. But sadly, it doesn't sound like we're going to be getting that anytime soon and all, and I really think that's just a shame and all. Okay, this concludes this My 2 Cent video for this week. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about these rumors about the about possibility upcoming Nintendo Direct? Do you think these rumors are true, to be exact, though? Do you think we'll get one next week? Do you think we'll probably not get one next week and all? And do you think that they might show a release date for Advance Wars Reboot Camp 1 and 2? And do you think it's high time that the game finally does come out, though? What are your thoughts about the big three not showing up for E3 this year? Do you think this report is true? Do you think Repop can pull it off without the big three for this year's E3? Or do you think it throws into E3's existence into question? Do you think Nintendo may have more surprises after Tears of the Kingdom? Or do you think the report is true that they're probably not going to have any big hits this year outside of Tears of the Kingdom? What are your thoughts about the engine switching for Halo going forward, though? And some changes at 343 Industries, though. Do you think these changes are long overdue, to be exact, though? Do you think that this will help make Halo a better game in any way? Or are you in the camp of it's now time for 343 Industries to be taken off Halo for good, though? And what are your thoughts about this report about two of Apex Legends games canceled? The mobile Apex Legend and the possibility of a single-player game canceled, though. Do you think this is bad news indeed, though? Would you have liked to see another single-player game set in the same universe as Titanfall and Apex Legends, though? Do you think they may come back to it at some point in the near future? Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off in the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And if you do like this video, I hope you hit the like button. I will appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I put up. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You can do it through PayPal me or Patreon. Links will be in the description of this video, assuming you're watching this on YouTube. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, from Southern California, wish you all a good day then. Bye!